regular meeting of the Nelson County Board of Education, February 20th, 2018, at approximately 5:02, it looks like, p.m. We will start off with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The board mission statement: the Nelson County Board of Education, representatives of our citizens and entrusted with their children, pledges to support the mission of the Nelson County School District by setting visionary direction through effective policy, oversight, and efficient resource management. The district vision statement: quality education now, learning for life. Mr. Brown, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay, so item number 3 on our agenda is organization of the board. We will be, or I say we, it'll actually be Mr. Gohagen, will be performing the oath of office. I know that both the public, the media, everybody has watched closely as the process to appoint someone to fill in the seat for the New Haven area of the community has been in process. So just recently, we were informed by the Commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Education that a person had been selected. And I will turn it over to Mr. Gohagen for him to perform all the rites and rituals of this.
We'll do our best. If you want to come forward maybe to in front of everybody. Okay, please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as I continue a citizen thereof, and that I will faithfully execute to the best of my ability the office of Nelson County School Board member according to the law. And I do further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, I, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state nor out of it, nor have I sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have I acted as second in carrying out a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offering, so help me God.
I do.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Chairman, we're very fortunate to have Mr. Dickerson, Jeff Dickerson, as District 1 board member, and I want to welcome him as superintendent and look forward to working with him.
We appreciate you stepping up, Mr. Dickerson. It's a job that has no glory and has very low pay that you'll find out. The pay is basically you're paying to be on the board. But we do appreciate you stepping up and offering to help us here in the community. And it says a lot about you and about your character and about your organization.
Thanks for the warm welcome. I'm glad to be here, and I wait to continue to contribute. Looking for great days ahead and many years to come. Bear with us as we go through some strenuous processes here in the near future, but good times are done.
So, for the students here, so you got to see something a little bit different here. Part of the process of taking oaths of office, I saw a couple little smiles or little looks on the face whenever it came to fighting a duel or been a second in a duel, and that is part of the oath of office of all state offices, which school board members are. So, Ms. Logston, maybe tomorrow back at school you can maybe mention to a social studies teacher there on the team that they got to participate in a process tonight that's part of our free society. So, sounds good. Okay, we'll move on into item number 4 then, student and shareholder engagement, and 4A is student performance. Mr. Brown?
All right, I want to introduce Mr. Rodney Morganson, who's the principal of Bloomfield Middle School, and he can assure us that none of these students have fought duels or been seconds in the duels. So we're glad to have him, glad to have his students here.
Again, I'm Rodney Morganson, principal of Bloomfield Middle School. A true honor to be here tonight representing Bloomfield Middle School, and I can't thank my students enough and the parents for bringing our students out to perform tonight. I also want to give special thanks to Jennifer Lawson, who is my 7th grade science teacher, who's has several projects in front of you that our kids have done either in her class or in math class since that's came about here just recently. So Ms. Lawson, I'm going to turn this over to you so you can kind of give a brief description of what our board and what our students will be performing.
Thank you guys for allowing us this opportunity. I have to say that I've been with the district now for 16 years, and this is the first board meeting I've ever attended. So bear with me, but hey, we were so glad and honored when Mr. Morrison asked me to do this that I was like, well, you know, I know we may only take, you know, 2 or 3 kids, but I'm taking a whole slew of them. So, you know, there we go. So we have a couple projects here that we kind of went through and we've been working on this year. 2 of the students here, they're going to go ahead and they're going to demonstrate here in just a moment for you guys. These are our marble roller coasters. And so we got to looking into kinetic and potential energy, the transference, and how mass is affected and how it affects those transfers. Lately, we've been looking into chemical reactions and how the composition of different materials can affect that, and we've been creating slime and doing that process. I've got Alexis Warschlager here, whose dad works for the district also, and she is going to be showing, we've been doing some technology, adding in some technology with this with our storyboardthat.com, and so she has a storyboard to present. We also have Justin Mobley, we have Nicholas Newton, and Jacob Mercer over here, and they are going to be showing you instruments. These are instruments that they completed in math class, and this had to do, they went ahead and they used the 8-count ratio that Pythagoras created, and he kind of, you know, came up with, and they've been using those ratios to kind of generate their music for these instruments. And the nice thing is that Ms. Hay and I, we collaborated with this, and so it's just going right over in. They're taking their instruments from math and bring them right over into science for our next unit, which is on sound, transfer of sound. We would love to have you guys come down, and they wanted to be able to demonstrate for you guys. Yes, we're getting you off the bench for a minute. And so, but we've got Caden Roller here. His group actually came in first place. And the first thing he said, Ms. Loxton, I don't think I'm tall enough to go reach mine. Their roller coaster won, mainly because they were able to create the most amount of potential energy in such a short space. And so they were, that was the first thing he said. Then we have Macy Runner, and we have Shayla Redmond, and theirs came in second. And so they did an awesome job going through, and once again, it was about the amount of potential energy that you could create. And then we've got Katie Lewis over here. But we would love you guys to come down, and they would love you all to walk in front of them and just show them what they've got. They've got some really cool things here. Really cool things. Anybody in particular want to demonstrate? You go, there you go. Y'all come on, I'm telling you. They were excited, let me put it to you that way. Yeah.
We get slime.
Yes. And you were able to reach it, Caden, so you were able to. She's going. And I tell you that I don't know how many times that happened in every single class. You know, and that was the great thing about learning through this process. was that the kids they picked it right back up and went to let's try it again. That really was a sight to see.
I'm sure these don't transport easily.
No, they did not.
You know, exactly.
Nicholas, did you want to play a couple of, I think you actually played a whole song, didn't you?
Well, it's a small song, but
Hey, that's okay. And Justin, you want to play a little tune, or?
sure.
And it's interesting, he's got flip flops. That was so neat.
Really?
Thank you all so much for letting us be a part of this process.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Don't put them in on that.
Good job, guys.
It's all over my house.
It makes them.
I'm good with
It makes them.
all the time. She wants to know.
What are you doing here? You got nothing better to do?
Oh, was it? Wow. I'm going to take
Got his music floppers. Music floppers? Yep, little music floppers.
Thank you all. I want to, again, thank you to my students. They've done a fabulous job. They worked really hard, as you can tell, on their projects. So I'm very proud of them as being the principal of Bloomfield Middle School. Again, Ms. Lawson's done a fabulous job with that. I can't thank her enough for coming out tonight and representing Bloomfield and bringing our student body. So I want to thank them again. Thanks to our parents who are in attendance tonight. Thank you very much for making arrangements for this to happen. At this time, we're going to do the good news. And another young man at my school building is going to be reading that. This is Mr. John Kellogg.
The hydroponics project group at the academy have tomato and pepper plants growing in the hydroponics room. They are beginning to bloom. Within the month, they will be planting seeds in the greenhouse, so they will be ready to sell this spring. Anna Simpson was our school winner at BES, Bloomfield Elementary School, of the Kentucky Grandparents Essay. She will now move on to the next level of competition. We had 2 students from each classroom in grades 3 through 5 compete in our school spelling bee. The school winner was Russell Cox in 5th grade. Ella Sweeney represented Bloomfield Middle School at the KMEA All-State Choir last week. Bloomfield Betas did well at the state convention. I myself placed 3rd for the 8th grade math. Thomas Fell placed 3rd for 7th grade math, and Caden Rower, who is present with us tonight, was elected as the Kentucky Junior State Beta Chaplain. The Betas won the campaign skate crew, placed second in the club trading pin, and placed third in living literature. Matthew Riley was the Bloomfield Middle School spelling bee champion and placed third in Nelson County. Our quick recall team took second place in district and fifth in the regional competition. I myself placed second in the math competition in the regionals and will now move on to the state competition. Parker Hall placed fourth place in science in the region and will also move on to the state competition. Boston hosted the Middle School District Governor's Cup on Saturday, January 20th. Sawyer Boone took first place in the math assessment, and Miranda Harden came in fourth place. Amy Farver took third place in arts and humanities and fourth place in written composition. Lana Marrero placed fifth place in written composition. Fifth grade students engaged in a successful social studies PBL at Wickland Historical Home. Beta students represented Cox's Creek Elementary well at the recent Beta State Convention. Riley Hall placed first place in math and Andrew Ivers placed first in woodworking. The Cox's Creek Future Problem Solving Team placed first in their district tournament. The Early Learning Center welcomed 178 family members to our Sweetheart Meals and promoted our first ever community blood drive for April 19, 2018 from 4 to 8 p.m. Third grade students at Foster Height, Ava Thomas and Lacey Barnes, recently won a student design project for their design of Moo Moo Cock-a-Doodle-Doo Petting Zoo. Both students presented their designs to a panel of judges comprised of real-world experts in the community and were the winning design. Aside from learning area and perimeter, the students learned collaboration skills as well as public speaking skills throughout the process. The New Haven Elementary Academic Team took first place overall in the District Governor's Cup competition on February 10th. The students will now advance to the regional competition in March. Nelson County High has received a College Success Award for our preparation of students for college. Only schools in 9 states have received this honor, and so we are very excited. Marley Walls has been named 5th Region Player of the Year and Miss Kentucky basketball candidate. On Wednesday, February 14th, Old Kentucky Home Middle School hosted the first Dean's List breakfast of the 2017-18 school year. We are inspired by our remarkable students earning all A's and or B's in the first semester of school. 42% of our students received this honor. We take pleasure in dining with and celebrating the children of 146 families in our community. The Thomas Nelson High School academic team leader, Lizzie Marksberry, participated as a regional finalist seeking to become the first academic team student to make it to state competition this year.
Thank you.
Hold on now, Mr. Kellogg, don't get off that easy. So, Caden Roller, won state beta chaplain.
Yes, at the recent convention.
And there is Caden there over to your right. So, how many years in a row is it that Bloomfield Middle School has had the state beta chaplain?
So far, I'm not exactly.
Yes, you're right.
3 in a row. So Bloomfield Middle School is becoming a powerhouse whenever it comes to this junior beta piece, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then also this campaign skit that won first place on. So were you in that campaign skit?
Yes, I was.
What part did you play within that?
I interviewed him towards the ending.
Okay, were there other people in this room that were also part of that campaign skit?
I know Parker Hall was.
Parker, where were you in that campaign skit?
He was a cheerleader.
He was- So I'm asking these questions because I already knew the answer, but also my son was one of the cheerleaders too. And I will have to say that you all made an awesome looking group of cheerleaders. And I loved the take on Run Forrest Run, Run Roller Run. Yep, so you all did a great job there at the State Beta Convention. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Next, in good news, be Ms. Chenault.
Sorry. So tonight we are going to be presenting one certification to Miss Kelly Spoonamore, who received her Google Certified Educator Level 1. And for those of you that are not familiar with that, it is basically basic training in the G Suite program, which means anything from Google Docs to Google Slides. It's kind of like Microsoft, just Google version. And so she earned that badge, and that is something that obviously we want to honor. She is a music and art teacher at Cox's Creek Elementary. Mom's gonna get your picture. Look.
Ms. Chenault, were there any other recognitions today?
Really?
Yeah, really.
Really? So I was recognized in Frankfurt for receiving my national board certification.
I know there may have been at some point along the way you didn't recognize, but hey, it happened today. You've got to take your applause on that.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 4C, superintendent search process. Mr. Seth?
Good evening, friends. It's good to see you again, and good evening, everybody. It's great to see a large group out tonight. And I believe that I do constitute good news because the light is coming at the end of the tunnel. And so just wanted to be here with you briefly tonight, just to catch up on where we are and review the timeline a bit. So would you move to the next slide? So here's our timeline update. Of course, tonight, February 26th, or excuse me, tonight, February 20th, I'm meeting with you and then doing just a general collection and gathering of the screening committee to talk about the process. So this will be the first time we talk about that process with them at a work session later on. But the 26th, which is this coming Monday, is the application deadline, and we start the work of the screening committee next Monday. So, and then it really starts to move. On March the 16th, that's the deadline for recommending a finalist slate from that screening committee. But they have to have their work done so I can come to you with that slate. So things start to move pretty quickly here. March 20th, I'm going to ask that a closed session be added to your board meeting, and that's where we will present to you for the first time that list of recommended candidates. And then the finalists will be determined at that point, and then we'll be releasing those names to the public soon thereafter. Then the week of the 26th, as was on our original plan, finalist showcase, interviews, potentially. I'll come to you with a plan at that March 20th meeting to talk about how that plays out. Then the week of the 19th, final vetting and logistics, with the goal that we set early on to be able to have your official vote and announcement of your new superintendent on April the 17th, which would be in line with your third Tuesday of the month. So that's the schedule as it exists now, and things are moving pretty quickly now. The applications are starting to come in fairly quickly. If you go to the next page, next steps, I'm going to start to prepare the written responses based on the candidate profile that we worked on at the end of last year, and I'm going to forward that to your review in advance of our March 20th meeting so you can see it. Then we'll be preparing the Strength Finder setup as you requested. We're going to be implementing that with each of the finalists, which I think is very helpful, and I think you'll appreciate that information. Finally, we'll begin preparations for that set of finalist showcases. And we can talk more in depth about that on March the 20th when I come back. So, what questions do you have for me now at this point that I can answer?
think it sounds to me like the timeline you had proposed, that we're sticking pretty close to it. I mean, I don't know about the rest of us, but I think that, I mean, you've done a wonderful job of helping guide us through this. And for the screening committee, and I know there's several members in the audience tonight of that screening committee, it may seem like there hasn't been a lot of work, but from what I see there, it's getting ready to get really busy for that screening committee.
Absolutely. And it gets, they'll be quite busy between now and the time they deliver that slate of finalists.
Can you tell us how many applications there have been thus far?
Yes, it's ongoing. The deadline is this coming Monday, and I'll share that with you by email so that you can see that number. Want to be careful about any information until that deadline hits.
Okay, appreciate that.
I have one other thing, if I could. This coming Friday, there's going to be a press conference in the Capitol Rotunda, and it's being presented by representatives of Kentucky Superintendents of the Year over time. And the reason I'm bringing that up to you is that it's going to be a call for celebration and appreciation of Kentucky's public schools. We're going to be kicking off a campaign called Love Kentucky Public Education. And I was hopeful that I could come back to you in March with a resolution that's going to be presented that you may be interested in adopting and joining this campaign. It's time for us to stand up against all of the undervaluing of public education in this state. I'm proud to be among that group of Superintendents of the Year, and I'm appreciating and loving the idea that it's time for us to move forward and stand up for our kids. And I'm hopeful I can bring that information to you. At KSBA, if you're there, you'll see a presentation from one of the Superintendents of the Year asking school boards if they would be interested in joining this resolution process and getting involved in the good news about Kentucky schools. Even with all the things we're dealing with now, there's still great news. We saw it tonight. And it's time for us to stand up and celebrate that and let our legislators know we have value. Public schools are important to this state and its future. So I hope you'll join us in that effort. I appreciate you considering that when I come back. Thank you all very much. Good to
Point
see
well
you.
made there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we'll move on to item number 5, which is the operations consent agenda. This is comprised of information related to personnel actions, treasurer's report, bills and claims, munis report, leaves of absence, minutes from previous meeting, overnight out-of-state trips, fundraiser requests, board training approval, and the policy second reading, which we had the first reading at our last meeting. All of these items have been part of the e-meeting packet of information that we would have received toward the end of last week.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Breeding.
Second.
Second by Ms. Berry. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 6, efficient resource management. 6A is the 2018-2019 preschool changes. Ms. Williams.
Good evening. I have a group of individuals joining me here tonight. We have a preschool proposal that we would like to share with you. Before we get started, we would like to share just a little bit of video clip about the preschool and the child care program that we offer in Nelson County. Carla?
Jared,
Can you turn the volume up for us, please?
Everybody's take a break real quick.
Love technology.
We're blocking it, Jessica.
Well, maybe I'll put that second.
be ready to turn that down, Jared, in case it's too loud.
Hello, I'm Holly Walker, principal of the Nelson County Early Learning Center.
And I'm Brenda Hickman, Nelson County Child Care Coordinator for Nelson County Schools.
We have some appealing news for you. We are the first preschool in the state of Kentucky to be a leader in Me School.
Plus, both centers, the child care and preschool, are Kentucky All-Star rating with 5 stars.
The Nelson County school system is excited to begin the 2018-2019 school year with its preschool families in mind. The Early Learning Center will begin offering more affordable child care costs, the option to keep your child in school from 8:25 to 3 o'clock, increased instructional minutes, and additional gross motor time. Just to name a few incentives to assist you in preparing your child for becoming kindergarten ready.
Child care also offers programs like dialogic reading, Second Step, and enriched disguised learning through play. Dialogic reading expands vocabulary and the ability to retell the story. Second Step teaches positive social skills.
Every child has the opportunity to participate in our all-day option, and those who choose to take advantage of it will have 2 meals a day and be bussed home at 3 o'clock. If you require 6 to 6 wraparound childcare, that is still available. If you desire to drive your child to their preschool session and pick them up at the end of their 3-hour and 15 minutes, you may do that as well. Our goal is to meet your needs while providing the best education to your child. Students who participate in a high-quality preschool program such as ours are less likely to fall behind their peers in the 3rd grade and beyond.
Studies have shown schools that use the creative curriculum upon entering kindergarten is raising the bars for Kentucky students.
Students explore academic content through a research-based curriculum, the creative curriculum. State-certified teachers work hand-in-hand with trained child care staff to ensure no student is left behind. As a leader in Me School, we work with each child on the 7 habits for happy kids. We begin to teach them what it means to be proactive, begin with the end in mind, and put first things first each day. We are anxious for you to come take a tour, re-enroll your child with us next year, and begin a positive relationship where your child is number 1. Please join us April 27th, 2018 from 8 to 4 for an initial preschool screening for children already 3 or 4 years old, not currently enrolled. If your child will not turn 3 until the summertime, we will have an additional preschool screening on July 27th, 2018 from 8 to 4 as well.
Families who take advantage of our child care will be thrilled to know it runs all year, including every day during the summer, continuing to operate from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. with a summer theme and enriched activities. Students will have a wonderful time. Finally, child care also participates in the summer feeding program where all meals are free for everyone under the age of 18.
Our diverse faculty and staff are committed to working alongside families, learning, guiding, and teaching through their child's first educational experience. We cannot wait to meet you.
Come see us.
As we prepare for the next school year, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we can prepare students for as far as preschool. And to do that, we wanted to share a little bit about where we are in preschool now. So we have some slides, and our current status in kindergarten right now, Ms. Carla's going to pull that up for you. We have in preschool, I'm sorry, we have 293 enrolled, and this is 3 and 4 year olds. We offer 2 3-hour sessions, which is 5 days a week, about 137 days a year. You can see the times listed there from 8:20 to 11:20 and from 12:20 to 3:20. 1 day a month, preschool is closed for the required home visits for staff with families. We have 102 of those children that stay for childcare. 125 of those kids are bus riders. 79 are car riders. And for those students that are tuition students, they pay $50 a week. As far as transportation?
Transportation, we bring students in midday and take AM students home.
Currently, 68 students ride the bus home from the AM session. 57 students ride in for the PM session. That takes 11 drivers, 18 monitors, and we run approximately 500 miles per midday throughout the week. Monitors are on all preschool buses, and preschool students require hand-to-hand transfer from monitor to parent.
The current status, we are a 5-star Kentucky All-Star Center. We are open year-round from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have a total of 9 child care providers in preschool. 52 students attend in the AM session, 50 students attend in the PM session. We provide a meal for the session that the student when they're not in preschool. Ratio in child care for preschool is 1 staff for 12 students. We will be using the creative curriculum next year, plus continuing to use second steps, dialogic reading, and kindergarten readiness activities.
We are also a 5-star rated preschool, and we currently use the creative curriculum and our Leader in Me school. A typical day, not a typical day, every day, 30 minutes of gross motor time, 90 minutes of center time, which we have 12 plus centers open, and 25-minute breakfast or lunch, and a 15-minute small and large group instruction. Teachers have 15 minutes in the morning and afternoon to plan, and they get 1 day a month during preschool where we bring in a substitute for them to plan, and they plan as a PLC group. And then 1 day a month is for home visits.
Oh, you may explain what is the 5-star rating?
Kentucky decided to go to an all-star rating for all child cares and preschools within the state. And a public preschool from the get-go is given 3 stars. In order to reach the 5 stars, there is a very long list of activities that have to be done, from teacher and staff trainings to the amount of home visits, events that you hold at your school. So for example, we increased by 1 event this year based on the all-star and the audit that we had, that we needed to up our family involvement more. It's a lot of training. The state comes in and does audits and checks. There's a whole lot of documentation really to prove what you're doing. And so for example, when parents come in and we require sign-in sheets for events, all of those were scanned and sent to the state as evidence that we were providing those services.
Well, it's important that everybody understand that, because some people won't know what 5-star, like a hotel or motel, you know, well, gosh, they serve breakfast, which we do. But
and lunch.
And lunch. But I want everybody to know what it entails to get that 5-star.
It asks questions about my certification, it asks questions about the director certification. It's a very long list of items that you have to qualify for in order to be 5-star rated. And Ms. Brenda had to go through a very similar process with qualifications slightly different, her being a child care provider and us being a public preschool. So it's a stringent thing that they're doing. And at first I wasn't too sure if I liked it because we are a school and not child care, but the criteria is very different. But it is an easy way for families to understand high quality versus an average center.
Thank you.
Some of the changes that we've proposed or are proposing include generating some savings. We talked in January about the draft budget and the pending actions of our legislature, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen there. The changes that are recommended tonight do generate savings that total approximately $275,000, and that's great in a time like this. But I will tell you, I think it's safe to say this group here, and there were others in the room, when we discussed the changes, if it were a wash cost-wise, I believe we still recommended these changes. I feel like it's better for kids. I think they talked about some of those things, and be glad to answer any questions you might have about why we think it's better for kids. Now with the changes that are recommended, can send your kid to that center at 6 o'clock in the morning, pick them up at 6 o'clock in the evening, go to preschool for part of that time, go to childcare the rest of the time and all day on Friday for $85 a week. I have a son who's a sophomore in college, a son who's a senior in high school. I can tell you, when they were in daycare, it was more than that for me back many years ago. So we feel like that's a bargain for parents, and they're getting an excellent program for that bargain price. So we're excited about the changes we're recommending, and turn it back over to you.
So our proposal is that the preschool day will change next year from our 3 hours to 3 hours and 15 minutes per day, which will be an additional 75 minutes of instruction per week. You can see the time change will be from 8:25 to 11:40 and 11:45 to 3 o'clock. We would reduce the tuition rate for tuition students from $50 a week to only $35 per week. We would discontinue the midday transportation, but in place of that, we would offer childcare to all families at a reduced rate of $50 per week. But in addition, we realized that we would need to provide transportation in some way, that we would provide bus transportation to childcare. So currently, right now, if your child goes to childcare in the morning, parents have to transport. But now, the parents can put the child on the bus in the morning. They would ride the bus to the childcare. They would be in childcare for the first session. Then we would transition them midday. They would be in preschool in the afternoon session. Then we would put them back on the bus in the afternoon after preschool, and then they would be transported back home. If the family needed to keep them there in childcare until 6 p.m., the childcare facility will remain open as needed from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Of course, we still offer special education transportation and services like before, so we will still provide those services. The midday route, though, would be discontinued. The calendar for our preschool will increase days. Currently, like I said, we're offering 137 days, but we will increase that to 150 days for the next school year. But 2 Fridays a month will be reserved for home visits or teacher training and planning. So instead of 1 Friday a month, there would be 2 Fridays reserved so that teachers could have appropriate planning, and there would be home visit times to meet the required needs with families.
Okay. Can I ask 2 things? Is the 2 Fridays a month because I don't want the teachers to have to feel like before, like they're not, how do I ask this? They feel rushed, okay? So is 2 Fridays or 3 Fridays would be
enough.
Better?
Yeah, it'll be enough.
Yeah, 2 Fridays to me doesn't sound like it's enough. I'm sorry, but as many children as you all have, and to do a home visit, right, I mean, to spend some time and get to know these families, is 2 Fridays enough? To me, that seems like it's just not enough time. That's just me. I don't know how many minutes you're supposed to go in somebody's house and take a seat, and whether you're going to have coffee with them, because I would offer you coffee. But I want to know what is the medium length of a home visit? Is it 45 minutes? Is it an hour? Is it 2 hours, or what?
There's not a required time frame as far as the home visit is required, but there's a home visit once a semester. So they are given in the calendar like 3 days before the school year starts, like the first 3 days that we start school. The preschool teachers have those days to do their home visits. So technically, they get a lot of those home visits done before school ever starts for preschool. But then there is the 1 day a month scheduled in the calendar for those days, because parents may work and they can't get those scheduled in those 3 days. So we give them those days in the calendar to get those completed within that first semester. And then the next semester, they have to complete another home visit. So it's 2 home visits within the school year that they visit with families.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like that they've got time before school starts. But then when the semester turns over and we go to school in January or whatever, they don't have enough time for it.
There's 3 days in January as well, built in when we transition. They don't start back exactly in January when we start back. There's 3
But
days.
is it still gonna be enough?
See, I almost think like it's almost like you're going to create like a spin on this because this sounds great, and I'm thinking,
Yes.
oh my gosh, for parents, this is going to be an awesome thing, which could potentially increase your student count, and with that requires more home visits, and with that requires more planning, and so I'm like, is 2 days really going to be enough?
When more students mean more teachers,
That's correct.
all right, so there would be more people to do that. We're actually, in this plan, creating more time for them to do home visits than they have had previously to this time. So we are doing that. We also offer daycare on both of those Fridays, so a parent would never be without an opportunity to have someone to care for their child. So if
I don't have a problem with parents, just I would think,
Skip a beat.
I just thought it was,
we believe,
Sorta.
and I'm going to defer to Holly and let her answer that a little bit. We believe that we're creating more time for these visits instead of less.
Of course, anytime, any more planning you can give a teacher is a benefit. There's a lot of preschools that are 4 days. There are some that are 3 days. There are some that are 2 days. There's lots of varieties across the state. Currently, ours is 1 day a month, so increasing it to 2 days is going to provide them more time to complete the home visits. They will have no more than 20 kids per session, which means that would be 40 home visits that they would make per semester. So, like I said, if we do increase in students, that means we would increase in teachers. So hopefully that would not increase the workload on the teachers. I know that Holly did speak with a couple of teachers when we were making this decision, and they felt pretty confident with our decision and our plan to move forward. And actually, the 3 hours and 15 minutes actually was an idea from a teacher to increase the instructional time because they felt like they were rushed in the 3 hours of daily instruction. So
The moving from 137 days to 150 days of instruction, because I know in the past we've started preschool a little bit late and we've ended it a little bit early compared to the district as a whole. How does that compare to Bardstown City Schools preschool program? Do we know?
yes, we compared with, I think, 7 different districts, and we're falling sort of right in between. Some districts range as far as 164, and some down to like 140. There's no set number for a preschool.
Right.
It's set by the district.
But what is it, and why I'm specifically asking about Bardstown is because going back 6, 7, I forget how many years ago now, whenever we did the consolidated centralized preschool, because we used to have it out at Boston, we had it at New Haven, we had it at each of the separate elementary schools. One of the reasons we did that, and Mr. Hollingsmith, I know you were part of that proposal. I think, Mr. Marchese, you were too. I mean, a lot of that conversation under former Superintendent Lance, that we were looking at it from the standpoint of consolidating that would provide more benefits to students. We had certain staff that at that time were having to travel to all of the individual schools so we could possibly give them give the students, the preschoolers, better services at one location. There was some cost savings in it that we considered, but also another one of the things were at that time we realized that, and you hate to say this about public education, but that it is a competitive nature to some degree. I mean, there are preschool programs that are privately ran here within our community. They're good preschool programs. I know the We Care Daycare program. There's some friends I have whose children go to that, and they enjoy that experience, and that's great for them. But also I know that here in Nelson County, the big elephant in the room is we've got the city schools, the independent schools, that we also have to make sure we're competitive with, that we have students that are wanting to, or parents that are wanting their children to be students within our system. So As far as like the city schools in particular, what is their number of instructional days?
They attend 160 plus days.
So, and I had no idea that they attended that many.
Because their calendar's a little bit longer, they start a little bit before us.
Sure. They have that 2-week or 3-week interset or fall break and spring break session that we don't.
And they're 5 days a week too. Yes.
Yeah. And that is something that I think we have to take into consideration. I don't know if, I understand what you're saying, Ms. Berry, that, can the staff meet all the needs of those home visits with 2 days a month? Is 3 days a month better? Can it be done in 1 day a month? One thing that I am thinking about in this, that I wonder, will this potentially have a negative impact though? Will there be parents that say, well, I don't have to find other needs for my student, and I'm pointing this way because I think Bardstown Preschool's over that direction, that I don't think that I'll have to find another location for my kid that 1 or 2 days extra a month, so I'll just soon start them at the Bardstown City Schools in their preschool program. I mean, I'm trying to think through, what are the what-ifs in this from a parent perspective. And I'm wondering too, as far as like the midday, and I'll be very open on this one. While the ship has sailed on this particular topic for this year, the topic of having work sessions, this board meeting is the first time that I've had the opportunity to review this plan, and I'll say that there's at least one person that I think I see in the audience. My contacts aren't working all that great right now, that contacted me about 3 weeks ago asking me about this. So whether that was the rumor mill that was working, or whether it was something that was maybe being discussed a little bit, I'm a little bit uneasy making as drastic a decision tonight based off of this one set of information and one opportunity to see this and to ask questions and to discuss it. And I'm not saying that this maybe isn't the right thing to do, but me personally, I'm a little bit concerned whenever we make this big of a change, even though we all know that there's going to be financial issues that all districts are going to be faced with over the coming years, and that there are going to be things that have to change. I am a little bit uneasy making huge changes like this on the spot, I'll call it. Well, that's why I'm starting to ask some of these questions about why the city, how do we compare to the city schools, and I'll say, I've always said, I think we're very lucky in this community that we've got 3 wonderful school choices for our students, our youth. Whether you believe in the philosophies of the county school district, which a lot of us do because that's where our kids went, or whether it's the city schools, which that's where I went and graduated from and feel like I got a very good education, whether you want a more faith-based, parochial type of education. We're very, very lucky. But we've also got to make sure, I think, to ensure any choices, any changes we make are being done to encourage more people to attend our schools.
So the 2 days a month, that includes both home visits and planning?
Yes, that would provide an additional day a month if needed to do the home visits, and it would be any planning or training that's needed. Usually there is one state training that's offered usually about September, and there's one I think that's going to be offered in March each year. And they're usually offered on Fridays, and that's why we specified Fridays. And so we're hoping that we didn't present a calendar to you yet. We were going to bring that to you in future board meetings so that we can maybe hit those at the correct timing with the state so that we would not have to have sub-cost and things like that, so that her teachers would be available to attend those trainings and get the materials they need. They receive a lot of updates, a lot of resources for their classrooms at those trainings. As far as the Leader in Me, they're giving update training each year.
Okay, back to me. Okay, Genius over here figured out you may have 4 visits a day. Okay, my concern is, another one, is we have so many county kids. Do you know where I'm going with this? If you visit Fred over here, and Lulu over here, and Luluette over here, and, you know, I just don't want, this is another thing. If I had a little one, and we had problems, I mean, not only just health problems, but other problems, 20 minutes to me, or 45 minutes, is not enough for you to sit in my house and me tell you that my child was born with a defect, and this is what, can you help me in some way? You know, is there special needs that we have to go through? Is there, you know, I don't have any problem with the plan. I really don't. I'm just concerned, and I've always been concerned about these visits. I just think the more we know about these children, the more we're able to help them. Am I not correct?
Yes.
And that's my only concern. But I've got to go on what you're telling me though, because you people are the experts and we're not.
And that's always an option. Like I said, there's lots of different options out there as far as preschools are concerned. You know, our independent school system is a 5-day preschool. Most of the preschools here in the Bardstown area are 5-day. So to be competitive, you know, it's the best option to stay a 5-day preschool. So we wanted to provide those services and to provide that consistency and instruction. But yes, we also have to look for ways that we can provide planning and the required home visits. So we felt like this would be a good way to be a win-win for both options. You know, that may be something that we need to look about in the future, but 2 Fridays a month would be a way to start looking in that direction. But like I said, I don't know what the future holds, and like,
None of us do.
And so,
And I don't want them going to the city. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't want them going to the
I don't
city.
want them going to the city. They're our kids. They're ours. They're ours. They're our county kids. And I want them to come to us. But I want to make sure us is giving them. And another thing while I'm asking is the buses. Okay. My 4-year-old, when I put my 4-year-old on a bus, is that bus going to be Jeff? Or are we going to have people on it just like normal? Are we going to set those little ones up further than?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know how they do that, but once you get a mixture of little, middle, and
Well, it's the same way, it's no different than the way we transport them in the morning and in the afternoon. We transport them with the other students. They have a monitor, they have their own little section of the bus. So AM students are transported with middle and high school students in the morning. PM students are transported home with middle and high school students. The only time they get their own special ride is midday.
and that's when I see them at my road is midday, and there's only little people on it.
Right.
So-
But they do ride with the older students, and we have very good monitors that keep them in their spot. You know, first couple of rows, you know, actually, the number of students dictates how far they go back, but there are no preschoolers that go to the back with the high school students.
Okay, that's a good thing. I want everybody to know that. No little preschoolers.
Mr. Hawkinsmith, I think this is a dollar question, so I'm gonna throw this one at you. So on the slide 6 that deals with expenditures and trying to project some savings here, there's a line that says salary and fringe savings, $182,000. Does that also calculate in, you were almost there, you flipped by it there for a second, right? One more, there. Does that also calculate in, though, that we've got 13 additional days, though, of the staff at the preschool? So the salary and fringe savings, then that would be the cost of I would assume it's the cost of the bus drivers at midday minus the added cost of the staff at the early learning center, and that comes up to 182 and change, or 182?
Well, the savings come from elimination of midday run, 11 buses, 18 monitors. You've got a fringe rate that's pretty substantial. And then, obviously, we're putting less wear and tear on our buses.
Right.
And so forth and so on, and then the substitution cost there that she, I think Anne Marie mentioned.
Right, the
covers
sub that
classes.
comes in.
But no, it factors in all those things.
But that 182 also factors in that there's however many staff at the early learning center times 13 additional extra days.
I'm not sure I'm
That-
following you. They're already
That
there.
doesn't include the school staff, correct? Yes.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Those folks are already there.
They're all there.
So, well, and maybe I'm not understanding it then, because 130, we go from 137 instructional days to 150 instructional days. So I count that as being 13 additional days.
But their contract day is 180.
Yeah, they have a 186-day contract.
Okay, so that's already factored into that. Okay.
What I see here is more time in the classroom for the kids, more time to spend with the families for the teachers, more planning time for the teachers, and a reduced cost to the families. Is that the high points? Okay. The only question I have is why are we reducing the cost from $50 to $35 when we know we don't have enough money to go around? Is it because to be more competitive with the community, or, I mean, is there a reason why we're reducing the cost from 50 to 35?
Well, we realized that transportation is,
Okay.
midday transportation. We realized that the public transportation is free and, but in a way, we know that childcare is gonna cost. I mean, we can't provide childcare at a free price midday. But we know that's gonna be an extra value to those students because they're gonna get the creative curriculum and those kinds of things as well. So I know the tuition, lowering the tuition doesn't make sense in a way, but we know it's going to be an extra expense that we're adding childcare cost a little bit to that, but does.
I just thought it was very generous is what I thought.
Yeah, it's like having a sale, a one-time offer, or one-time QVC sale. This is your chance.
Yes, and I'm putting it under the heading of customer service. I feel like
So
this
really,
is a chance
we're
to
going
provide
to charge
customer
people
service.
less, save money, have more time in the classroom, teachers have more planning time, they have more time. Okay. That's what I need to know.
Mr. Dickerson, did you have something?
The mantra was competition, so I mean, to get them in and get them in early, they may stick around.
A sale. Come one, come all.
As far as touching touching two families in the morning and two families in the afternoon, and being in sales for many, many years, it can be done. Yeah.
Well, giving them twice as much time to do their visits.
Okay.
I'm going to bank on the fact that the people we have teaching school out there are smart enough. If they got two kids in Boston, they're going to see them, try to see them at the same time. And if they got two kids in Chaplin, they're going to try to see them at the same time too. I mean, it just,
Okay.
do what you have to do, but yeah.
Is this change, let me ask this, is this a change that has to be decided upon tonight? Because I'm still a little bit uncomfortable with something because this is a pretty major change in my opinion for the parents that have students that attend the preschool. I think there was 125 total students that so far have been using that midday bus run. And I know that we've got to be planning from a budget perspective, but also I think to something you mentioned a minute ago, Ms. Breeden, is it something that can be tabled for more questions to be thought of on it or answered? I'm wondering, do we have to make a decision tonight?
The answer to that is obviously no, but there is a but here. We have a date where we open up the preschool registration, and it's a one day where all people are there, and that's including Bardstown, us, and Head Start, we're all in one day.
What's that day?
It's in April.
It's in-
We start
and-
advertising March 1st.
And that's and we want to start advertising our changes and our cuts and costs on March 1st. And that was,
I'm ready to make a move on it. Tell you the truth.
that was it.
I don't have a problem with it.
So the parents that are impacted with that midday transportation, what are they gonna do? What do you anticipate or project their
Meaning, will they decide not to do
Yeah.
preschool? Is that kind of where you're
Will
going?
they back out? Will they go somewhere else? What are they gonna do?
Well, I would hope that they would look at the option of the wraparound childcare program, like I said, with the option of doing the transportation home in the afternoon or the transportation to our facility in the morning with a reduced rate of childcare. We are looking at options of early sign-up, waiving the registration. Ms. Brenda is looking at ways where they can receive some funding to help with that if low-income families, if they need extra help to pay for that $50 a week for child care fund, there are some options to help them with that funding.
So we don't have those laid out and put in place yet.
Well, they're in place already.
It's a state
Just
program.
advertising that for them and getting the word out with our Frisky and all of that. We will have that there the day of registration to help them with that. Of course, that comes with our advertisement of all of that. Of course, they can still transport. They can still come in at midday and pick up their child.
Because that's a given. I mean, they've always had that option.
So knowing the families, the 125 families, what do you think, just how well you know them, that the reaction's going to be? Is it going to be okay? You think, yeah, I think we're going to be okay. I just want to make sure that we're all comfortable, and I see where you're going with this, with that midday run.
Yeah, and the principles of this proposal, I mean, the fact that we would have more instructional time, that's terrific. In fact, I would love for us to be able to find a way to have even more instructional days, because we are competing against another preschool program that has 160.
I think it's 161, but don't hold me to that. But
Yeah, 160 each, we'll put it at that, yeah. So we're competing against, that type of program. And for some families, it's not only about the educational experience they get, but also it's that two-job family, and they're also thinking that allows my child to get that head start on school, as well as it allows me to be able to work that first shift or whatever. I don't have to find other accommodations for my child. And that's not what it all should be about, but in practical purposes, sometimes it can be. So, I'm in line with that. I'm in line with the fact of being able to have more time to do the in-home visits, because I think that is needed, because the only way that we can make sure that our students are getting what they need, especially at the preschool level, forget that it is a requirement, but actually just getting to know that student and helping them move along as far as we can to get them ready for kindergarten. We got to do that as well. We've also got this piece that comes with how do we make sure that we address some of these budget issues that are always up in the air this time every year, because the legislature, this is the first year I can ever remember that the legislature has not at least sent a budget out of the House by this time. I mean, every other year, it's always been out of the House by this time. I think that shows the dysfunction that's going on right now within the legislature, that they just don't know what to do because everything's all over the board. But I'm concerned about the parents.
I just want to make sure that, that there's the least amount of negative impact, by this change, so quickly.
And I would love to say we would have 100%. I have no way of knowing that. Anytime you make a change, it can go either way. I feel like what we're offering, the increased instructional time, the childcare, the safety, the additional meals, the transportation home, and many do use our childcare and the facility itself and what we offer and the extra gross motor time, that parents will jump on that opportunity. And I feel like we're very competitive. I don't think you would find childcare in the facility that we provide anywhere in Bardstown for $50 a week. So I really, at a ratio of 1 to 12. So I think when parents look at that, all the pros are in our favor. However, I can't say that there won't be a family that, may choose not to do something else. But I really feel that, that it is a win-win for a family.
I understand the March 1st piece. Do any of us, and maybe I'll ask Carl do we have a March 1st work session? We do not.
But we can.
Yeah, I mean, because I understand, I mean, we want to make sure that we get information out to the public as quick as we can. Same thing we've always done with the school calendar, that we want to make that set as quick as we can at the end of the year so that, you know, the local companies that, you know, seniority gets to pick vacations, they can make sure to get those in. You know, is this something, I mean, there's some questions some of us still have. Is this something that we could table? We could have it as a decision point. We could have a special, it would have to be a special call then, March 1st meeting, but that, if a decision could be made by then based off of questions that we still may have on this, that then would give you all enough time to do the advertising piece of it.
Well, I'm confused now. I thought the advertisement has to come out, we have to have it by March 1st, is that not true? Is that not right?
That was-
Which is our goal, to start advertising March 1st. That's when we open the online window.
Okay, so is March 1st gonna work? I mean, we're not gonna make a decision till March 1st, but they're gonna start at March 1st.
Well, we would not start. We would hold off.
Okay, so we would hold off.
Till March 2nd.
Okay, now, let me ask something. Is there a way, is there a way that we're not gonna know until they come to register though? So that puts us in a different position. So, I don't know, but if we're not gonna know until how people feel until they come to register. Well, take a shot on
You've got
that.
293 students in the preschool. If you took a vote, it's not going to be 293 to nothing.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be unhappy no matter what you do.
No matter what you do.
I-
We get that.
I-
You know,
I-
people-
I would just, you know, again, we did spend a lot of time on this, just
I know
want you to
you
know
did.
that. We didn't rush through this, and I do believe it's a benefit to kids, a benefit in a lot of ways. There's always an opportunity cost when you make a change. You give up something to gain something. So
Well,
it's always going to be the case.
And I'm sure you can understand too, I mean, my hesitation is not about any, because it's obvious there's a lot of work that's been put into it. Maybe it'll be no one's bone to chew on, but my hesitation is that these are big decisions in my opinion, and that for big decisions to be made without time to mull on it, chew on it, ask questions, reflect upon the questions that come back, at times it can work out okay, and sometimes it can work out not okay. And that's where I'm apprehensive on making a decision tonight on it. Again, that's one person, there's 5 votes.
I think we have some highly skilled experts who have put this whole thing together, and I trust your judgment. I do. My concern is the families in the middle. Yeah.
We're not going to let any family who is in true need be without transportation. So a family that needs to come in on time, you know, with the regular buses, we will make sure that they're sent home on that bus at 3 o'clock. And is that where I feel like your heart is pulling you? Is those kids, what's going to happen to them?
No, I think it's the midday.
Yeah, the midday kids.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they need to be bused in at 8, right? But they don't have that way to get home, we're going to make sure that they get home at.
Now,
So they're
let's make, I think there's a little confusion, and maybe this will help a little bit, is that if a student, let's say that came in the morning and stayed for childcare in the afternoon, we don't bus them that. Does that, do we understand that? They don't get transportation home. All right.
Say that one more time.
All right, we have a student that goes to morning preschool.
Okay.
All right, their parent decides that they will be in childcare in the afternoon. All right, there's no one home at noon or whatever. At 3 o'clock, we do not transport those students.
But that's not the question that I'm asking, or as I think what you're asking as well, is what about the midday routes? Because that's what's being eliminated here, are the midday routes. So what
They
will
have
be?
to stay.
Yeah, so either as a parent, I either have to make the decision that my child, I've got 3 choices I can make. My child will stay for the afternoon's childcare or afternoon preschool, whichever way, the schedule works out. Or I drive midday to go pick them up or get someone to do that.
To take them to a babysitter or
Right.
whatever.
Or I don't send them at all.
Right.
That's regardless of what we're talking about. Those are the 3 choices that as parents, they have to be thinking about. Now, we would all like to think that every parent will say, I want my kid in that preschool environment because I know what it's going to do for them. I know that it's going to be the best benefit for them to get them those opportunities, the social skill piece, the academic piece of it, the prepping for kindergarten. But it's not about, at the end of the day, buses. The question that I've got really does have to do with the midday runs. And I recognize, I honestly do, I recognize that there are benefits that this plan has whenever it comes to instruction, the number of minutes, the number of days of instruction. I recognize there's benefits to the number of home visits that are made. And I recognize that there are, potentially some cost savings here, which we've got to be concerned about as a board, because again, everything is in such a disarray in Frankfort that nobody knows what the budget's going to look like and the funds that we will be reduced as they come to us. But we've always said that preschool is one of the most vital pieces of any educational experience. If you get them early, if you get them started, the expenses spent will pay back tenfold, if not more, because of the positive opportunities those kids will then have throughout the rest of their educational experience. It's also good for the community, it's good for the workforce eventually, you name it. The question is, I think it really boils down to is a concern I've got for that midday piece of what type of impact you think that may have from a parental standpoint. I recognize that there are some of our bus drivers that are in the audience tonight. And I know from their viewpoint, they're probably looking at it as this means potentially I will have fewer hours. I may have less pay. And that's something that, we get as well. But, I'm concerned about that midday run, regardless of whether it has a positive or negative impact on an employee. I'm thinking about from that family standpoint. And I hope that makes sense. I'm not, discounting that concern that
You've
certain
got an
employees might
enrollment of
have.
293 students, and 125 of them are affected.
And that's why, again, I think the amount of time that we've spent on this, it's now 6:20, and we started talking about this well before 6 o'clock. That tells me that this is something that there's not a quick, easy answer for, that there's not a quick, comfortable answer for, that the entire board as a group could be comfortable with. It's that whole, give a little, take a little, somehow we meet in the middle, which is harder and harder to do in today's society. But that my feeling is that there is not that central, that we're all comfortable with it yet. And that's why, I had kind of asked questions about the March 1st. Did we have a meeting? What would that do as far as the advertising and so on?
That would be fine.
Because I think I do get the feeling there are some other questions maybe that are still lingering that we haven't had time to discuss and ask. Again, one person, there's 5 of us.
Well, I think it's important, that we as a board are comfortable in the decisions that we make. And, we are, representing, our families in Nelson County. So, if this is, such, a bigger issue and a bigger decision, then maybe we should go ahead and table it and then give us an opportunity to think about it, maybe, input from, the parents that are affected, and then come back and make the decision.
First, we need to find out though, how do you know how those are gonna affect until when? Are you gonna ask the ones that's already coming? Are you going to wait until you have a list of who's coming? You know, are you into just the day that they come to register? That's what I'm asking.
You won't
You won't
necessarily
know either
right
way
now.
until they come to
It will
register.
Be a bus rider as of right now for next school year.
For next
We're talking
school year.
about next school.
So you're in a catch, you know,
You're darned if you do and darned if you don't, yeah.
and that would be right. So there's no way to know until you know how many kids we're gonna have and what each circumstance is, correct?
Mr. Dickerson, normally the first day that a person is a member of a Board of Education, there's not as much discussion going on, but I keep looking over at you, and every now and then, it looks like you're in deep thought.
Take it all in.
Yeah, well, and not to put you on the spot, I mean, your thoughts, I mean, because, you know, coming from a parent with students in the school system, what would be your thoughts?
No, the totality of circumstances that I hear so far lends itself to the two working family scenario more so than in the past. And add that to the financial savings and the other advantages I've heard, I would be in favor. However, no harm, no foul in waiting and asking more questions, obviously.
Well, I'm gonna just settle this one way or another. I move that Nelson County Board of Education approve the changes proposed for the 2018-19 school year for Nelson County preschool as presented, because you people are no.
And I second it.
So there was
So
a
we have to
motion,
vote.
there was a
Yes.
motion by Miss Berry and a second by Miss Dye. All in favor?
Aye.
So there's 3 ayes. Opposed? Nay?
Nay.
A nay? Okay, so it does pass 3-2. The ayes, Carla, for your benefit, Miss Dye, Miss Berry, and Mr. Dickerson, and the nays, Miss Breeding and myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your all's
Thank you.
work. Moving on then to item 6B, Google transition and network fiber agreement. That would be Mr. Morgan.
So I'm going to talk about our fiber connectivity between schools real quick. So I've been here 5 or 6 years. We have always used the city of Bardstown for our fiber connectivity, which is our network connectivity between the schools. So that's how kids get out to the internet from the school. So back here goes out to the internet. We've recently chosen to stay with the city of Bardstown. We were using them before I started here. Been here 5 or 6 years. Great relationship with them. Shout out to Jeff Hills. I assume he's the one that designed the original layout of that. Been very, very good for both of us, both the schools and City of Bardstown. Great connection. We don't have any issues. I'm not on wood. Have any issues with our connectivity that they provide for us. It's been a very good relationship. They're also going to work with us on upgrading over the next couple of years. Right now we have 1 gigabit connections between our buildings, which is very good, but we're going to be a little proactive and try to get those up to 10 gigabit, which will allow us to do more things like maybe centralized security camera solutions where we can push that video across those links, just give us more bandwidth so that we're addressing potential issues down the road. So again, they've done a very good job for us over the past, I guess, 10 years probably?
Yeah, I think it's pushing 10 years that City of Bardstown's partnered with us, and they've partnered with the city schools as well for quite a while too.
Yep. So, any questions on that?
The thing about it, I'll just add the thing about it too, and I know that probably Casey has some awareness and Jim has awareness as well. You know, there's been lots of talk here in the community a few minutes back about Kentucky Wired and what it was going to do to, you know, the community and the schools. Kentucky has had high-speed internet to every single school for years. We were the first state in the whole U.S. that had every single school building, public school building, connected by high-speed internet. And Kentucky Wired, when it comes to school districts, pretty much has nothing to offer us. I mean, we're so far ahead of what Kentucky Wired is trying to do right now that it'd be like saying, oh, you want to give us a 1956 DeSoto? Yeah, it's okay. We've got a 2018 Chevy, whatever.
Who owns it?
It's a public-private partnership that if you do some research on, you'll probably discover that it has a lot of questionable things related to it. That's my opinion.
I'd throw in real quick, shout out to CATS. They provide our internet bandwidth and it's phenomenal. We don't have any issues with that. CATS, if you don't really know what they do for us, they do a lot for the schools. They do a good job. Our network connectivity, again, we regret saying this tomorrow, I'm sure, but it's almost always up. We don't have a lot of issues and they completely manage it. So,
and that 10 gig link, like Ms. Berry had leaned over and asked, how much is that going to cost? I can't remember. Is it less than what we're paying
the price
now?
is going to go down. The price is going to go down, and that's one of the major reasons that the city won the bid is they're going to work with us. Right now, currently, we have 2 strands of fiber going to each location. They're going to work with us to convert that to 1 strand of fiber, and that gives them a strand of fiber back. So that's a win-win. So we can, working with them, I think we've got a tentative plan to be able to upgrade the 10 gig, go down to single strand of fiber, and the price go down for the school district.
So bigger, better, faster, cheaper. Oh, and E-rate pays for 80% of that cost anyway?
Yes. Yep. That's a big pat on the back to the city for working with us there and helping us come up with something. So.
All right, so we had the option as a district to stay with Office 365, which is our current mail provider, or switch to Gmail, which is Google's version of Mail. And so we decided that the best option was to go with Gmail. And as a district, and so the way that I like it, and I kind of stole this from Damon just a little bit, but that we are moving houses. It's just going to be a different house, but we're taking our furniture with us, we're taking our family with us, we're taking all of our things with us as we move just to a different house. And so our emails are going to stay the same. Nelson.kyschools.us. All the student emails are going to stay the same. Literally, we're taking everything with us. We are working with Amplified IT to migrate our information, contacts, emails, that kind of thing over to Gmail. So everything will be migrated starting on March 15th and will be completed by the 19th of March. So I am, obviously being the digital learning coach, I am working on the training side of it to make sure that our teachers and our staff, classified, certified, whoever, is prepared for this switch. So I have all-day trainings, and then I have a couple-hour trainings, digital trainings, as many different ways as you can think. I feel like I've covered it. But anyways, so like I said, we're already a G Suite district. This is just making our life a little bit easier. So it's very important when you buy a house, always ask where the restroom is. And if there's a restroom on the first floor, it's just convenient. But if your only restroom is upstairs, then it's a little inconvenient. And so with Gmail, our restroom is downstairs on the first floor. And once again, it's the final puzzle piece, really, to the G Suite apps for education. So, like I said, we're really excited to be switching that over. There is a Gmail app that you can get on your phone that you sign in with your first dot last name at nelson.kyschools.us. And all of your emails and stuff like that can be still accessible on the phone.
I want to take a minute I don't get to address the board very often. Again, I've been here 5 or 6 years. She has made the biggest difference in this district that I have seen since I've been here. And I'm talking about what you see the kids doing now. The project-based learning. I have a 5th grader at Foster Heights, and he's coming home and he's doing like Flipgrid videos, and I mean, he's never done this stuff before. I mean, she's making a huge impact on this district. I mean, it truly is amazing. So her trainings on this are going to be awesome. And just to be completely honest, I would probably have to do most of this if you weren't here. So this is, I mean, the training she's already came up with and got out in like a week is insane. She does a lot of work in a very short amount of time.
Well, and I will say to that, I shouldn't take all the credit because it's the teachers with open minds, letting me come in and share things with them and expose things to them, tools. So it's them, because, I mean, I just give them the tools off my tool belt, and then they go and build. So, just so you know, I mean,
We
that's...
appreciate, but
We can see the passion.
Yes, thanks.
Ms. Chenault, do you mind that the PowerPoint slide, I think you've got access, or I know Jesse does, to the CKATC Team Drive. Mind dumping that up there, because some other people may like those house graphics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, where the restroom comes from, if you log into a Chromebook right now, as a kid or staff member, then you have to go somewhere else to check your email, and you have to log in again. After we transition to Gmail, a kid sits down, they log into the Chromebook, they just click the Gmail button, they're there. So it's just more convenient.
And then this is not the typical personal Gmail, this is Oregon, that means it's inspectable, which it should be, whether it's open records requests or concerns about communication between students, or between students and staff, or staff and staff. So this is not what you may have as your personal Gmail at home. It'll look the same, it'll work the same, it's just called Oregon. It means that it's owned by the school district. So.
We'll have a lesson in that later on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, we both need,
Thank
we
you.
need a little help here.
Appreciate that. So item 6C, research development of mobile phone app for Nelson County schools.
All right, so I met with Tom Brown, and I have also met with a couple of others. And he approached me with someone that he had met at a conference. And if you want to go ahead.
You know, if you want something done, you give it to a busy person. So I stuck Jamie with this. You all have said that you wanted to increase the avenue of communication, that you wanted to do some things that would help teachers and everybody in the district be able to communicate with each other, but with parents and everything else. So everybody uses their cell phone. That's just everybody's common thing. So I got into, somebody showed me something, and I asked Jamie to investigate it for me, and she has, and we got a short little video, and then she can tell you a little bit more about it. Wait a minute.
Hey, Nelson County, Michael Mappucci. Tom and I spoke about how we can help Nelson County promote market its identity and share its successes on mobile. And I wanted to have my director of sales show you what Tom and I spoke about and how we can really improve Nelson County's engagement with its families. So here's Casey.
Since the world's gone mobile, we find that everybody seems to be walking around with a smartphone. And since so many people have access to smartphones, we think it's a great opportunity for schools to be able to connect and share stories with their communities on mobile apps. But what we run into time and time again is that a lot of schools don't really know how to do mobile apps the right way. Because ultimately the goal of an app is not just to have one, right? Because people can come to an app, they can use it, but if they don't have a good user experience, we find that they don't come back. So what we do at Apogee is we focus on building something that allows your community to come to one central app, be excited because it really reflects the school district's brand, but they can also get all the great stories that are going on at the district right here on the live feed. So it's something where you're able to promote all the great
Turn it up a little bit more, please.
right here on your own app. People will also be able to come here, click on the faculty section and stay in contact with the superintendent 1 to 2 clicks away. Also, we can call principals. Teachers can link their teacher classroom pages right here on the app. Parents will be able to report a bully, get involved, all kinds of different forms that you can use to get your community's feedback. And keep in mind, this is private. So we want to elicit the community's feedback, but we want to make sure that it's in a controlled manner. So this way you can actually get that candid feedback without having to worry about them post something negative online. Dining menus, upcoming events, news articles, all of these sections are right here for your community to access from the same place. They can hear about all the stories, get sports schedules. Everything's right here on the app so that we can come here, learn all about what's going on with our soccer teams, football, hockey, and through voice from the very same system that you're using to update your app and website right there from your phone. It really doesn't get any easier than that. Because at AppsU, we realize that there's a huge storytelling component to getting parental involvement, parents getting them engaged, getting the community knowing about what's going on in the school district. And we know that the best way to do that is where people are already getting their information, and that's from mobile phones. But beyond that, we know that school district administrators use their phones just as much, so we want to make your life as easy as possible. And with WillShare Mobile, you can tell stories while walking through the halls of the school district. It's really exciting to see how much of a difference this has made in the school districts that we've started to work with.
Thanks so much. If y'all have any questions or need anything, shoot me an email or give me a phone call. My contact information is right there. Thanks so much, Nelson County.
Well, let's get going on that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay. Not quite that easy.
I know.
I got that.
But we're investigating, this is just one company, there could be more, we're looking into it. It's just that I wanted you all to know that we were looking, we are digging into this.
So yeah, so I have some updates. So currently we go with SchoolPoint. Our website is through SchoolPoint. And there was, and I don't know a lot about the history of it because I just stepped into this role, but there is, Jesse, it's like ADA compliant rule that your website has to, meet the needs of everybody. Basically everybody. And so SchoolPoint does that. So what I found out was that SchoolPoint actually has an app that you sign in, and you can bring up Nelson County, and it looks very similar to that. Now, am I saying that our website has some information on it that probably doesn't, it's more internal instead of external for, not that it's private or anything, but like field trip forms, things like that, so there is some work to be done with SchoolPoint, but I think that it can be done. So what I did a couple things. I reached out to Marty Park, which is the Director of Technology for the state of Kentucky. And he basically confirms that, work with SchoolPoint, see if you can't figure out some information, especially because one of the features that I absolutely love is that I post it once and then it goes to social media. Because that saves me from having to copy and paste and whatever. So I reached out to SchoolPoint for that feature, and that is actually a feature that they offer. And I didn't know that. I kind of came in on the back end of SchoolPoint when I was hired. So I've not worked with it a ton, but there is an app that a lot of teachers, I didn't know about it until Jesse told me about it. And so there is an app that we can look at without having to spend money for a different company or anything like that, that we can look at and try to mess with first before we go with a different company. So I am willing, like I told Tom, I'm willing to do that if need be, to look into that and see if we can't get our website a little cleaner and more simplified looking. But still have obviously the pertinent information that our community would need.
Okay, my thought is, okay, several years ago, I don't know if you remember this, I know you do. Remember we asked for a way to get on the website and find out if Foster Heights had a ball game?
Yes, I
If
remember.
somebody else, if Thomas Nelson had a site-based meeting, and we were told now.
One place to go to.
One place to go to, and it never came to be, because by the time teachers put everything in that Google Doc, it was too confusing, and a lot of stuff wasn't able to get on that well, that didn't do us any good, because we try to, visit everything. So, I like this.
Well,
I like
I'm not trying to sell a product.
No, I know you're not.
But
this
we
is the
need,
idea.
it's the idea that I
Yes.
wanted, and that's what I'm, Jamie, whether we can do it with School Point or whether we need to go to an Apogee or a company like that. You know, I like, the one thing that I do like is you can take your cell phone, take a picture, type a short little thing out on your phone and go to one thing and you can send it. You just click, I want it to go to social media, I want it to do this, I want it to go to the website, I want it to go out on, it's like 4 or 5 different things. You hit send and it's gone.
It can even go on, let's say that when I went to the Allstate course, if I took a picture of that and put it on that one website, then everybody, it would be on that website.
That's correct.
Okay.
However, in the investigation, I have not found that Apogee is under the compliance, the website.
And they would have to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not even, I don't think, I'm not advocating we switch. I'm just advocating, what we're trying to do is meet what you all have asked, better communication and looking at ways we can improve and make it simpler for everyone.
Right, and the second thing that Marty had mentioned was buy-in from the teachers and the staff, you know? I mean, this School Point was kind of thrown at them and said, hey, here you go, here's our new school website, here's how you do it, and it was a quick training. Nothing, I mean, it was quick training, but I've not followed up with those people, and so I don't think it's being used for the way that it should be used, but the app does have an events calendar that shows you the different, it's already on there. But whether or not everybody's putting the events on there, whoever is in charge of that, that's a different story. But there are events on there, and you can see them all in one place on the app, on the School Point app.
The School Point app, which I've got installed, there's several districts in
Yes,
Kentucky
yes.
that use it. I was just looking, I mean, you can email, I pulled
The
up
teachers.
your email address from within the app, and I clicked on the ATC, and it gave me the phone number that I could call from
Yeah.
within the app and so on.
So there are some
Yeah.
good features of the app but it's just being underutilized.
Sure.
So-
But we don't actually have the app up for us and advertising that we do have it yet.
Sure.
We need to do a lot more work.
Fully utilize what we've
Yes.
already got, and if there's something that is missing that we feel we need, then we go and look to
That's
see if
exactly
someone else can provide.
Okay, and then somebody, it'll be left up to someone to load the events on it and do all that stuff at each school or each.
When we get into that,
whatever,
the
when-
answer to that would be yes.
Thank you. That's simple-minded here, that's what I want to know.
You're okay. All right,
you,
thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Thank you.
Item 6D, the Guthrie Opportunity Center update. Ms. Clark.
Hello, how are you all? We currently have a community work transition program for students with disabilities within our schools. And what that offers is our students to get out into the community and learn skills within the community to potentially get jobs. With that being said, we also get to utilize the Guthrie Opportunity Center. So I get to introduce tonight Cindy Hutchins with Guthrie Opportunity Center so she can give you some background on what our students are doing there and what they can offer us and help us with in the future.
Thank you, Tiffany, and thank you for allowing us to be here today. You guys, this was really exciting and educational to hear all the things that are going on. If I'd known it was this exciting, I might have come back, I might have come sooner. We're excited about the collaboration that we're working with the schools, with Communicare, and I brought with me, I'm the executive director at the Guthrie Opportunity Center. I brought with me Rick McKay, who is our CEO, and Beth Coleman, who is the teacher who works with your aides and your teachers and your staff when they bring students to the GO Center. I thought it was pretty important. I don't like to assume that everybody understands what happens at the GO Center. Every time I get an opportunity to tell people about it, it's a wonderful gym, and I would love to have all of you come in. Everybody here, you'd be invited to come in and take a tour and see for yourselves with your own eyes. Our mission, everything we do has to do with supporting individuals that have developmental and intellectual disabilities. We support them with vocational training and job opportunities, training, all of the things. I know they told me you have this in front of you, so I won't read that to you, but everything has to do with enhancing their lives and the lives of those who love them. And I know you have wonderful programs here in the schools, so it makes sense for us to hold hands and make sure if we switch gears, It was wonderful seeing the students here and that they're active in your meeting. Our role is, as they're later in life and they're transitioning out into the workforce, what are they going to do next? And so we work with the individuals to find out what is it that they like to do, give them an opportunity to experience out in the community. What are the variety of jobs that are available? It's our job and our mission to help them find what is that goal and help them be able to realize that. We do things like not only out in the community, we'll work with businesses. They get to see there's a variety of business opportunities that go on at the Go Center. And that you could see if you came to see us. But we do not only the job training, we have partner with Communicare and they provide support services for the people that we serve. We do contract labor with a lot, not your students, they don't do this contract labor, but at the Go Center. They, for example, we work with Heaven Hill, who's been with us from the very beginning in the 70s, that if they have project work that doesn't make sense for them in their distilleries, that they will contract that out, and it's jobs for our individuals. There's a variety. Heaven Hill is just one example. There's a variety that we work with. We have support services right there on site for our developmentally challenged adults. So you very likely could know some of those people and some of those services. We do the recycling for the city and the county. I know some of your students have come and taken tours to see how that process works. That provides jobs for our individuals. In case you ever had a need for meetings, we have both large and small space. We have 20,000 square foot space. We have the Bourbon Festival is there, and that provides funding to be able to offer some of the programs that we offer. So a lot of times people don't know all of the things that take place there. You may have heard of On the Go Foods is a restaurant that we started, and our whole purpose in doing that was to be able to provide jobs for the individuals that work there. So if you come in and I know you guys have been very supportive ordering from us, and we appreciate that, but you are supporting our mission by doing that. We also have an area, there's a bottling line that one of our board members leases some space from us because she wanted to be able to hire the employees that are there. She said, she has a special needs child who's an adult, I shouldn't say child, but to be able to employ that population, they have a tremendous work ethic. And if you talk to any business these days, that's the thing they're talking about. How can we get people that want to be at work, that show up, that can pass a drug test? They have something to prove, and that's to prove that, hey, I can do a great job, just give me a chance. So it's our mission to help them be able to realize that. And the main thing I'm here to talk to you about is that we call it the Go-To Discovery Program. It's kind of hard to see that picture. It's a picture of the classroom. Some of our things that take place are in an actual classroom. We have computers. We have some software that we work with. You may have heard of, is it LCE? Make sure I say it right. And we also have some programs that teach specific job training skills. So I think if we move on to the next slide, the LC transition curriculum, it's helping students what's going to happen when they're ready to either graduate or age out of school, so that they can come and they can learn some specific job skills, some daily living skills, interpersonal skills. If you came, I want to say a couple months ago, we were working on one of our curriculum was with grocery clerking. So Beth would work with the students in the classroom, and your aides would come along with them, and they would learn the proper way of putting things on a shelf, they would learn cash register, money transactions. So there's a lot that goes into that, and it's not just how to become, that may be somebody's dream, it may not. So we look for a variety of things to be able to offer them so they can experience the same things. They want the same things we want. To be able to have an opportunity to see what makes me happy and how can I provide for myself. So we did the grocery clerking. I think I have a couple of them up there. The Food Land, they would learn it in the classroom and then go out in the community. They went to Save a Lot quite a bit and would see and experience and talk to the customers, talk to the people that are there, and experience how they would do those jobs if they were in an actual real life environment. We have, we purchased some project discovery curriculum. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but basically, they send you the curriculum and a kit that if you're interested in teaching, one of the things that we've got is a greenhouse. If you're interested in working with your hands and you want to learn that skill as a trade that can be used in our community. So that's one of them that Beth will be teaching. Table service is another one, proper way to, if we have a lot of restaurants in Bardstown. If that's something that interests you, then so they learn the proper way and they can put that on their resume. And I will tell you, we participate in the job fair that the school system has. And I was so thrilled last year that we were invited to come. And I'm telling you, they came up with their resumes and they were ready. They were ready to talk to us about coming. You have a job for me. And it felt really good to be able to say, yes, we do. We'll find the right place for you. What is it that makes you happy? And let's get together and experience that. So basically, a curriculum is adapted for the special needs individuals that we're working with. And there are a variety of levels of skill levels. Some are higher functioning than the others. But we work together on that to make sure that we're satisfying and making sure we're covering everybody. I can't remember what was the next. Most importantly is that we're seeing results, and I did cut off the bottom. We've been working, it's really important that we work together, and the main reason I want to be here is I want you to understand who we are. We want to understand who you are, and I can see there's a tremendous amount of work and passion going on here to make sure that we provide the best education that we can for our students at all ages and all levels. I got that today. I walk out in the community and I can vouch for seeing that. I'd like for you all to come in and see what we do, because we're very passionate about what we do as well. And that is taking care of and making sure that the individuals that have those special needs also have the same opportunities and a variety of opportunities, which is why we're always looking for different ways to bring in either different businesses like we did with the restaurant. We've looked at the bottling line that we do. We bottle, actually, it's not alcohol, it's bitters for the cocktail industry. If you've ever seen the tiny little bottles, they do those at the Go Center. They also do some dry goods they package for the food industry. Bourbon Barrel Foods is a very large customer that's shipped nationwide. And if you've ever seen them, I think they're sold in Kroger's and a lot of the tourist shops around here. Those were done at the Go Center, and they're very proud of the work that they do, and that they'll show you, this is me, this is mine. So that's our passion. I hope that you'll come spend some time with us, take a tour. If you know anybody who may benefit from our services, that's why we're partnering. And I have to say, your team has been phenomenal. Tiffany gets in there, Pam Harlow, your group gets in and works with us to make sure that we're providing the right opportunities for these individuals. Anybody have questions?
No, but I have your Christmas ornaments.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said that.
I really enjoy, really, they're very cute, and it helps out, so.
It does. We started an art program. We have a volunteer who comes in, and there are some individuals who, that's their passion. Our job is to help them make a living doing that. You have to sell a lot of ornaments, but that's our job. We have somebody who likes to, he makes blankets, he crochets. So that's our job, is to help him figure out how can you do that and how can you make a living doing that. And he might be doing something else beside.
You keep making those Christmas things.
Okay.
Good, and I can vouch for your food. I think you all have a catering offshoot, correct?
We do.
That you all catered the Leadership Nelson County dinner, graduation dinner last November, and I wanted to go back for seconds and thirds, but I think it's all gone.
I was at that as well. I was in that class with Amber. Tremendous. We appreciate the support. And if you can think of us when things like that come up, when you do, you're getting a good meal and you're supporting our mission.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Rick.
Hard
Y'all
work.
invited to our gala on April 21st as well. It's a wonderful dinner we put on for our main fundraiser, and we'd love to have any of you who want to join us. You can call up and make reservations. We'd love to have you.
It's April 21st?
April 21st, I think it's a Saturday night. Put together by our kitchen folks who do that. And we'll serve you twice if you're hungry.
Well, I never turn down food.
Thank you very much.
And I should have, just in case Beth, she wanted to address you, because she's the one who has your students every day, not every day. You can tell them how to have them.
Thank you very much for letting me teach your students.
This is a job that I'm beyond passionate about. I get to teach them how to adult. Some days I wonder how I look behind me trying to find the adult, but we do more than just work. We do daily living skills. They learn laundry, cooking. I send them, their homework is go home and clean your room. Why is mom telling me you're not cleaning your room? The communication I have with the parents and the students is just absolutely amazing. I get them one-on-one. I had one student at the beginning of the year wouldn't even get in the van. It was literally just, she would not get in the van. We went to work today and she was like, and something as simple as that. Your heart soars with the transitions that they make. So every day, why it's called our Discovery Program, is every day they get to discover something that they're good at.
Great. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Item 6E, policy update, first reading, Mr. Moore.
I hate to follow all this fun stuff with drug testing procedures. What we do have for you is not a decision paper, just an informational paper. That if you notice, there's not a lot of changes on the procedure itself. As you remember, we went and changed our Horizons Academy to the Academy and Horizons and things like that. So some of that language has caused us to have to change some of the language in other places. So that's what a lot of this change is. So we had the first reading tonight. If you have any questions on 9.423, you have seen with other Mr. Dickerson most of these changes already, and we've talked about them in the past. But we want to say this is the first reading because we did change some significant language with names of things and stuff in it. So, and the other is the procedures. I have Robbie up here with me in case you had some questions. He's been working with a provider that we have that are doing our testing. If you remember, we talked about we were going to bring somebody in to do that, to do it better and not have the nurses strapped with that. They made a lot of suggestions of changes to the procedures to meet more closely what they do and what's real instead of just kind of what's on paper. And so that's where those procedures changed. And for Mr. Dickerson, I know you other guys know, we don't have to have a second reading on procedure. It's just really for your knowledge to know what's going on, but I'm happy to answer questions on it. But we'll have to have a second reading on the policy. Any questions tonight? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Item number 7, college career readiness, 7A, admissions, attendance policy update. Ms. Brown.
Good evening, Board. Welcome, Mr. Dickerson. Look forward to working with you. The first item that I would like to talk to you about tonight is our foreign exchange policy. We already have a foreign exchange policy in 09.12. I would like to hear suggestions from you and get your permission to work on that policy to include being able to confer a diploma to foreign exchange students who meet our Kentucky graduation criteria. In the past, we have given them a certificate of completion, and they have been able to participate in graduation ceremonies if they chose to. Some of them have come to us with outstanding credentials that they have attained in their home country. And now they are here studying with us, and they are also pursuing rigorous coursework here. So their parents here in the States, in Bardstown, Nelson County, have asked us if we would confer degrees upon them. I have no problem with that, but we need something to guide us through that. We do a transcript audit when they bring us their transcript from their prior school. We look at that and we classify that according to the graduation requirements in Kentucky. Last year, we did find that one student was outstanding, and they did participate in graduation. But I would rather have something in this policy as well that will okay that procedure for us to go forward with that and to confer a degree on those students should they earn that and equal what we have here in Kentucky or exceed it.
Okay, one question, are they having problems? My daughter has of course, a diploma, Nelson County diploma. She, from an accredited Nelson County high school, and therefore she went to college. Okay, does that mean if they don't get the accredited, the diploma, is that gonna be any difficult? Does that make it more difficult for that student to go to a college? Or is it better to have that for that child to go to college?
Coming from post-secondary, I'm going to tell you that it would be better for them to have that degree. However, that is not entirely necessary when you're coming from a foreign country to the United States to go to school. So, yes and no.
I would think that looking at any language changes on the policy, it's a good idea. I mean, especially if we can crosswalk the transcript, the classes, the coursework they've done in their home country to what the requirements are here. The only thing I'd also like to ask is that we make sure that there's nothing, or is there anything at state level that we also have to make sure that we tie into. Are there any regulations? Are there any KARs that deal with foreign exchange students and being deferred a high school diploma from a Kentucky school? Making sure that we cover our bases on that.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The
Ms. Brown.
next,
Is 7B the associate degree program?
yes. So you have asked me for that probably almost a year ago. And so I'm bringing the beginning of that. We do have it complete, but I want to give it to you in small pieces so that we can all digest and think and that sort of thing. So we've been working very closely with ECTC. They will be our provider for the associate degree, and I will tell you that they are wonderful partners, and we are thrilled to be working with them. As you know, we have a dual credit scholarship in Kentucky, so students can get 2 free courses. As long as they are a high school student, the parents can also pay for them to take college coursework if the student is ready to do that. So that's what I want to talk to you about tonight. We have eligibility requirements that we have taken to ECTC. Can you go on to the next slide? That we have taken to ECTC. And they have applauded our requirements. This would be the slides. These requirements are applauded by them. So I will tell you those because we're not going to get them up right now. Okay. So they must have completed the 9th grade. They must take the ACT. They must attain a GPA during their freshman year, a 3.1 in math, a 3.0 in English, and a cumulative 3.25 overall during their freshman year. They will complete the online application with proficiency. They will complete a dual credit verification form. That's an agreement between the student, the parent, the high school counselor, and the college representative. So I want to stop right there on that one. The reason that we think it's so very important for them to complete this dual credit verification form, this contract, is because once you take a college course and either pass, fail, withdraw, whatever, that stays there. You can retake the course and pass it, but the F or the D is stricken and it always is there through the rest of your life. You can never take that off. So we've got to ensure that our parents and our students understand that what they're doing is reflective of the rest of their life. And as long as they want to continue to take college coursework, they need to understand that, because I can tell you from teacher education programs, when you are an advisor or you are someone who is about to admit someone into teacher education, you look at those grades very carefully. Now you can look at it one of 2 ways or both ways, and I always like to look at it both ways. You look for those A's and B's to ensure that they have the knowledge that they need. But you also look at that to show if they had a valley or if they had a downturn, that they turned that around. And many times you would see an F stricken for a B or an A, because they were in a valley, and that shows me perseverance. So it can show good things and it can show great things for students, but they've got to understand from the beginning that that's the deal. Once you enter this contract and once you sign up for this class, then you are bound to it. The next one is to be willing to take dual credit, AP face-to-face at Nelson County, at a Nelson County high school or at ECTC, online, ECTC, or another institution. Every institution in Kentucky that is a state institution will transfer in and will transfer out of ECTC. So a student could be working at ECTC for the associate's degree but grab a class from Western or Moorhead online, or they could go there in the summer, and those courses will transfer. We've been guaranteed from that. They need to attain 3 teacher recommendations and 4 satisfactory dispositional screenings during their freshman year. That's 2 in the fall semester and 2 in the spring semester. They must maintain attendance at 96% and above, complete orientation. They must be free of disciplinary referrals for fighting, theft, weapon possession, vandalism, arson, possession of illegal substances, or disrespectful attitude, and they must be 14 years of age or older. Now, 14 years of age or older to be a college student seems really young to me, but we do have students in our gifted and talented program in our high schools who are perfectly capable of doing this. We also have in the past required ACT scores to be benchmarked. That is no longer required by ECTC. SACS has taken that off of their accreditation requirements. So they can take the ACT. They must have taken the ACT, but they don't necessarily have to have the benchmark met. That's why our GPA requirement is high, so that we can ensure that they don't get into this coursework and flounder or have issues. Because at this time in their life, with them being so young, that could be detrimental to them for a while. So these are considerations that I want you to chew on, please, for the next month, and then we will bring you the course catalog I will bring that to you, and we will put it all together. We will also get these slides out to you so that you can see them firsthand, but I did want to bring those to you and present that to you because that is a promise that I made to you that I would bring that to you. It will be up and going. Students can start taking coursework July 1st. So in the July session, the 9th graders going into their sophomore year can start taking courses at that point with ECTC. We do recommend that they take the orientation course over the summer. That's their first course that we recommend. I've worked with the counselors and with the folks, with our counselors here and with the folks at ECTC, and that's the way that we see that. Dr. Sturgeon will be here from ECTC on March 20th. So that you can ask any questions of him. He is our partner in this endeavor, and we both have a really good feeling about this and think it will be good for Nelson County students.
So this will be the partnership only with ECTC?
For the partnership for them to confer the degree will be with ECTC. They can take coursework at lots of other institutions, but yes, they will confer the degree.
I'm asking that, I won't say names, but I ran across a student at one of our high schools who was sharing that they're a senior, and in theory, they would have enough hours towards an associate this spring.
I think we will have one student.
But that the higher ed location they were talking about was Bellarmine.
They have a good program.
Exactly, yeah, and so that's why I'm wondering, how, I know that this would go into effect for next school year, but that student in particular made me think, well, is it only one place that degree would be conferred from?
That's our partner. I do believe that we will have a student who caught on to this last year and has pretty much worked their tail off, and I think we will have one this year. I'm not positive, but I think that will be the case.
Well, what that means is, in theory, that we might have a high school student who has an associate's in their hand before they have their high school diploma in their hand, because higher ed typically ends around the first week of May.
Yes, sir. You're correct.
Thank you so much for your hard work with this.
Thank you for allowing me to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Great, great.
Item 7C, New Skills for Youth Cohort 2 Grant, Ms. Brown.
This is a grant that Amber and I have been working on. It is a grant from KDE. This is the second cohort of the grant. New Skills for Youth is an attempt to redevelop our ATCs in Kentucky to turn them into career academies, and Ms. Brennan is smiling over there. I will tell you that we are partnering with Bardstown Independent, LaRue County, Nelson County Area Technology Center, and ECTC will be our partner with this as well. We've had 2 meetings so far. We will be targeting manufacturing, business and IT, and healthcare as our 3 pathways that we will endeavor to produce a better workforce for our area employers. Amber, do you want to say anything about that piece?
Overall, this grant is just to plan to increase the number of pathways that lead to high demand sectors. So it's just giving our students more options that are going to lead to those jobs that are in demand.
And it's a planning grant.
Correct. Yes, we are in the planning stage. We have been going to visit other districts who have, or other communities who have partnered together. We visited the iLead Academy in Northern Kentucky, where 5 districts went together with a couple of ATCs and a post-secondary partner. So the piece that I need you to pay particular attention to tonight is on page 17 and 18 of the grant. I think you have that. These are called the resolutions. We will bring the actual grant back to you on March 20th for you to vote on allowing us to pursue that. 18 and 19. Pages 18 and 19, you will see the resolutions. So if you want to be reading through those resolutions, I don't want to do that tonight, but you can be reading through those because that is what we will enter in and you will confirm when we apply for this grant. We have great partners in LaRue County and Bardstown. We're all working together to pursue this together as one group to help the students of the area. So do you have any questions or concerns on that?
Would it be inappropriate for me to go, yes?
No, ma'am, it wouldn't.
Is there any matching funds with it being a grant?
Not yet, but this is just the planning stage. So
Okay.
possibly if we get the grant,
Then
yes,
there may be.
there may be some. Yes,
And it's a year-long grant.
the planning is for a year, yes.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Moving on to item number 8, student and shareholder engagement. 8A is superintendent's update. Mr. Salyer was here earlier. Is there
That's
anything extra to add? Oh, that's yours. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I apologize.
No. I don't. I'm going to cut it very short.
Yeah.
As I wind down my time back in the Nelson County School District, last couple of weeks have been pretty rough. Not just for us, but our hearts go out to, of course, to the families and everyone in Marshall County and in South Florida for everything that happened there. And as we continue on a daily basis to work hard as we possibly can on school safety, I want to communicate a couple of things that I said in the one call that went out, is that school safety is our #1 priority. #1. That is, even before education, school safety is our #1 thing. And we're doing everything we can every day. We have had all of our principals trained by the Center of School Safety. We have, and that's only been in the last couple of weeks, we have great communication and great cooperation with our local police. They have done a wonderful job, both the Bardstown City Police and the Nelson County Sheriff's Department. They have been wonderful to work with, and they have been unbelievable to our needs, knowing that a lot of the things that they are trying to help us work out have not proven to be true, but we check every single thing brought to us. And I'm talking about as minuscule as it can possibly be. We check it out to the nth degree. We have literally spent hours upon hours upon hours, and they've all been good hours, because this is stuff that we need to do, and we need to be responsive to this. And I just wanted to say to the board, thanks for the help that you all provided in the leadership. Thanks to our community for working with us. We need your help. This is not a school problem, it's a society problem, and we all need to be in that. I spent months in another interim a few years ago working at Marshall County High School. I walked those halls. I was with the superintendent there. I know those people very, very well. They are great human beings. It can happen there. It can happen anywhere. We're working hard. Our people are diligently doing the right things, and I thank the parents. And we've had a great little video that our 2 high school principals put out that I thought was very meaningful. If you see something, tell us. We'll check it out, always. Thank you. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Item 8B, guest comment. The guest comment policy is any person wishing to address the board may do so by following these rules. Individuals representing themselves are limited to 3 minutes. Individuals representing a group are limited to 5 minutes. Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address, and if you represent a group, state the name of the group you are representing.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Littlefield, and I live 104 Springhurst Drive, Cox's Creek. My daughter Turner Roach attends Thomas Nelson High School. As a parent and educator, I fully understand the anxiety and concerns for school safety. I have worked and volunteered in the Nelson County Schools for many years, and taking care of our students has always been our first priority. With that in mind, amidst the concerns, I want to point out some of the positives that I've observed in the past week in our Nelson County schools. Firstly, I want to say thank you to the board and Mr. Brown for the caring message that was sent out on the one call. The parents across the district, it didn't go unnoticed that everybody felt very safe and comfortable in your words. So it is appreciated. Secondly, I want to thank Mr. Bradley and Ms. Jury for the follow-up video that they did. It was extremely comforting. And Mr. Bradley also did a one call that made us parents feel safe. This type of unity is exactly what our community yearns for. This was a message more powerful, but it was also more unifying for parents at both high schools. They all need to hear it. We all need to be on the same page. As a parent, I am so proud to be a part of the Nelson County Schools, and I want to continue to partner with you and encourage other parents to join together to ensure that we are all taking care of our children and our schools. Thank you so much for your attention, and again, thank you for making safety the #1 priority.
Thank you.
Any other guest comments?
I'm Donald Lewis. I live at 1749 Merge Run Road. I drive a school bus. When they changed the preschool, they never asked for our opinions. The parents out here do not have a clue what's fixing to happen. A lot of my parents I've talked, because we heard rumors, and just got their opinion. They don't want this to happen. And I'm sorry y'all passed it, but y'all fixed to lose a lot of kids. They're sitting on to Bardstown. I know of 5 already off of my run that's sitting them. They don't have transportation for these children. And when they're doubling them up on morning and afternoon, we don't have the room on the buses to haul all these kids. My bus, I do 2 runs now. One's high school, one's a middle school, and Cox's Creek Elementary, and my preschool. I am loaded to the deal. And that, we have 2 buses in Copperfield. Both of my routes come out of Copperfield. So I know y'all passed it, but I'm telling you, you're fixing to be in for a rude awakening, because you're gonna lose a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other guest comments? No others? Then we would need to make a motion to adjourn regular session.
We just need to adjourn.
We just need to adjourn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We will be having a, what would be the technical term, Mr. Gohagan?
Special call meeting.
Special call meeting. Special call meeting that will require. Closed session that will require the room to be cleared. And then also for anybody that maybe will not be able to stay around for after, there will be an executive session as well later on in the evening, so.
Motion.
Okay, so a motion to just adjourn. Second by Mr. Dickerson. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We'll take about 5 minutes.
Yeah.